Okay, I want to move on to some of the song deep dives
Yeah, let's do
that
it.
we have going here. First song we're going to talk about is Layla Blue's "What a Shame."
Yes.
I had the opportunity to work with Layla a couple years ago.
She's awesome. So talented.
Such a good singer.
Yeah.
So
And
fucking
writer
talented.
and everything.
Yeah. But what's the story behind the write of that song and how did it all come together?
That is a good question. It was so long ago.
Yeah.
It was made in New York. Yeah, it was me, Layla, and Jesse Fink. We were at our publisher's studios, Arcade, in Manhattan, in Midtown.
Nice.
And we were working on an EP for her, and we kind of had most of the songs were like soulful singer-songwritery songs, and I think we kind of wanted one more like fun, mid-tempo, more like modern-sounding pop song. So that was kind of the inspiration. And Jesse, I think, picked up the guitar and kind of played that riff, and that kind of just like sparked the whole thing. And the song, I think she would probably be okay with me saying this, but kind of comes from a real place in the sense of just, you know, what was going on in her life with someone she was interested in at the time. And she kind of just wanted to write like a fun, ridiculous take on, you know, what goes through your mind when, you know, things aren't working out, you know?
I mean, you guys nailed the lyric and perspective in that. I love a song that when you're listening to it, like you can smile at a couple lines, like and laugh internally.
Oh yeah, that was the intention.
Yeah. And I think it's like I'm a sucker for those kinds of songs, and it's such a fine line between them being great and being like so corny. And I think you guys nailed it. Like and also when you have a voice like hers,
she's so good.
It's just, she can just sell anything, and you're just like, sure. I thought that line was crap, but like you sold it.
Yeah.
So
she's great.
There's nothing as a songwriter producer that makes me feel better when I work with someone who's an amazing singer, and it's like, oh, I'm a genius.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
It's like, no, it's just them.
Amazing singer and also amazing like vocal arranger. Yeah, and
she's
like
so good.
Any harmony, I mean. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the harmony, I have here, I was going to ask about the vocal processing and how you guys went about doing the backing vocal. So I know it was a while ago. I don't know if you remember the exact like vocal processing chain, but how did you guys go about doing her lead vocal and then doing all the backing vocals?
Pretty sure the lead vocal we did on an SM7B.
Damn.
I don't know if you're recognizing a pattern here. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it.
And yeah, I think we did the demo on the SM. A lot of her stuff we demoed on an SM7B, and then we were like, oh, sounds good, so we should just keep it. And then we obviously did a lot of harmonies. I do remember in the chorus, we stacked on the word shame.
Yep.
We stacked those a lot. So I think like, you know, a third, a fifth, and then like high octaves of those. Yeah. And then one thing I remember that we did is I took that whole harmony vocal group, duplicated it, and then pitched it an octave down.
Oh,
so that's
smart.
why it has the shame like under it as well, because it sounds cool, and also then it gave it like this like
because it's a vibe. It makes it feel, you know.
Right.
Are you using Ultra Boy for that, or are you just using the?
I
Logic
used
one?
Pitch Wheel by Quick Quack.
Oh,
do you know this one?
No,
I've used it for years, and for some reason I just like the way it sounds.
Is that like what like even I have it in my notes here?
Yeah.
Like what that like. When she's pretending to be the guy, is that what
that's with Ultra Boy?
Okay, that's with Ultra Boy. Okay.
Yeah. So those parts where she's pretending to be the guy and then she's pretending to be the girl.
Yeah.
I remember we were listening to a lot of Brockhampton and like Kendrick Lamar at the time, and this is a couple years ago when they were like deep into creating characters in their songs and pitching their vocals up and down. So we kind of wanted to play off of that.
Yeah.
And I love that part of the song.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's just like especially because it comes in the second verse. Right, it's not like a thing where it's like we do this the whole song.
Right, exactly.
And it makes it kind of fun and unexpected.
Yeah,
it was I don't know. I remember when I first heard the song, and then when I did listen to it again to prepare for this, I was like, oh yeah, like it's really fun and clever.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've been like so into the most recent Kendrick album where he did that a lot.
Yeah,
it's so it's funny. Like we were listening to the Kendrick album. I say my wife and I, and she's not like a huge Kendrick fan. She was like, why is he like rapping like that? I was like, he's playing a character.
Right, exactly.
Come on. Yeah. It's so obvious. Oh, God. Her vocal really, I mean, she's like such a good singer. And I remember,
so good.
I only worked with her one time. And I just remember it's like one of those days where you're just like, oh, you're just gonna do all the harmony. Great, okay,
Right.
I'll just sit here and press record.
Yeah, right. I mean, and that's why you can use a mic like this on
Yeah.
her, because her voice is already so good. Sometimes when we used in the past, when we've used like really high end mics on her, it doesn't sound as good.
I recorded her on 103 that I had at the time, and I remember I was like, I wish I didn't use that microphone because it kind of like it was too much. And she's
bright.
a pretty, from what I remember, dynamic singer.
Yeah, she already has so much character in there. Yeah. You don't need to pick up more of it. Yeah,
and that's the thing too. It's like, you know, the SM7 is such like a hot topic on like the internet. Like everyone being like, it's a shitty mic, it's the best mic of all time, and that's the thing too. But it's also, it's like, you know, people always bring up like Billie Eilish recorded, you know, Ocean Eyes on like an $80 microphone. It's like, you don't have Billie Eilish's voice.
Right.
I don't know what to tell you.
Well, right. Yeah.
And like same with like Layla, it's like that girl can sound good on a shoe.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So you know.
Right.
But but like you're saying, like even her voice, it can sometimes sound like, I tend to buy darker microphones because I find it easier to brighten things.
Right. Much easier than rolling off the
brightness. Versus like the other way. So it's like the 103 I had, it was just, you know, I still love that microphone. Yeah. But I'm probably never going to go back to it. But that's why I have like a 47. It's a little bit darker. Yeah. I love the SM7. We were talking about it before, where I'm super into ribbon microphones now. Right. Where I'd rather have things dark and vibey, and then it's it's like, honestly, it's usually to brighten things, you just make it less dark.
It's much harder to recreate the warmth than to recreate the high end. Yeah.
And like that's the thing, is like the SM7, it's just like, it picks up what the thing sounds like. Right. It's not doing anything.
Right. It's very accurate.
Right. Yeah. It's just like, this is what it was. Right. And
it's like a flat version of what it sounds like.
Right. Yeah. It's you know, it's always good. The other thing I want to talk about, I'm curious if it was also an SM7. Yeah. The acoustic guitar on that sounds really great.
Also SM7.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. SM7, and I think I use the Neve EQ.
Yeah.
The UAD one. And usually I'll like cut up to like 150 and maybe boost at like 1 or 3K, sometimes 8, depending on what I'm looking for.
For our listeners, you know, I think so many young producers only have an SM7. What's a great, like, how do you like to mic an acoustic guitar, especially for this, like kind of tighter sounds? Like, how do you like to position the mic to get that nice sound? I'll
usually go like at the 12th fret, and then maybe like 6 inches off of it for a song like this.
Right, where like for this song, for our listeners, if you haven't listened to it yet, it's like a very tight, like not roomy sounding guitar.
Right, exactly. And not a loud. I think Jesse was playing it pretty soft, like not like a loud part. But yeah, for something like that. For strumming, probably a little further away. Yeah. But usually I'm going, depending on the guitar, around the 12th fret.
That's the other thing too, that you mentioned Jesse playing softly. I find that like that's a lot of the sound too, and some of like our favorite records, is that like people aren't like smashing their acoustic guitars. Right. It's just like it's a good mic setup, and then you're like playing it nicer.
That's something that took me a long time to learn. Yeah. Yep. How you play it is everything, and also you don't need to play that. Even strumming, you don't need to play that loud.
Well, I think we're like, I don't know about you, but like I got so used to like being in bands, and just like always like fucking destroying my instruments, and then you get in a recording, you're like, oh, why does this sound like crap? And then you just like play it soft, you're like, oh, that's why I've been fucking that up for so long. But it's like, honestly, like anything acoustic, it's just like play it softer than you realize, and it's like, oh, that's so much of the sound right there is in the fingers. Right. Another fun thing about the record, you're kind of talking about it, you guys wanted to be a little bit modern, but I love the trop drums in it. And I know it was like a couple years ago, but